செக் பண்ணி போன வேற சொல்றீங்க.
Hi, Dhruv. I think we can start in a minute.
Sure. Good evening. Done, sir.
Good evening. Yeah.
So we start in time. We will so that we'll finish in time as well, and we may have some questions answers.
I understand. I'm just starting. I'm just sharing my screen from the other account I've logged into. Just one. The screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect.
We
So
go into the
good evening.
presentation mode.
Yeah. Just so good evening, everyone, and thank you once again for giving your valuable time unfortunately on a Friday evening to the tax advisor. And it's always a pleasure to be interacting with all the members. Sort of gives a feeling of being back in touch with your own I would use the term family now because I've been doing this for so long, and with my fraternity. The reason for holding, although there are not very significant changes in the although there are not very significant changes in the tax landscape over the past 2-3 months, there have been significant changes in the political landscape, but in the tax landscape there haven't been very significant changes. I had envisioned this webinar to be to serve basically three primary objectives. The first being obviously to apprise you on some year-end activities which you need to be apprised of, and some year start activities. Obviously you're ending the financial year in one way, and in the other way we're starting a new financial year. That's one. The second was a little bit about budget expectations, on what we can see the budget expectation as, what we see the tax landscape as over the next 4-5 years. And the third, obviously, is a topic which is closest to my heart, and which I believe will also add a little bit of value to members, is our use of AI and chat GPT tools, and how we believe that as business owners it can help you. Along with this time, we have incorporated certain case studies so as to make explain it to you and practically demonstrate how to leverage these tools in a busy day-to-day day, so that it yields some benefit to you. So not leaving anything to chance, we're starting with a little bit of changes and updates in direct tax, changes in GST law, the third part being AI and what it holds, and obviously the fourth part being an interactive question and answer session. Would request all participants to keep the question and answers till the last part. However, would love to have any pertinent questions in between, just so as to improve the discussion. Now, I've summarized this slide, and I've included this slide for two primary purposes. One is we have been receiving a lot of queries from members. So it always is, it's nice to update members in terms of what is 10F, TDS on software withholding, etc. So just to apprise and just to update members' understanding, TDS and withholding tax on purchase of software in case you're a reseller from outside India is not liable to withholding tax as per Supreme Court ruling. Now, this required, and we've covered this in previous session, 3 documents, one being Form 10F, no PE and TRC. Now, just to apprise everyone that these documents are not sacrosanct once you have received them. They need to be updated every year. So for example, the tax residency certificate of all the vendors who raise you invoices for sale of software, etc., is renewed and needs to be taken into your record every year. So now that 2024 has started, April 2024 has started, a lot of countries' new financial and new accounting year was started in January 2024. So please make sure that you either maintain an in-house tracker or you tell your compliance team to ensure that the renewed documents for the new financial year, which is 24-25, is obtained from all the vendors so that your accounting and documentation is robust. So although the TRC is something which would have been obtained by a lot of your vendors in January, since the financial year changes from Jan to December for a lot of countries you deal with, Form 10F is something that they need to reapply from April 2024 to either December 24 or 31st March 25. So you have to be very careful that the updated 10F has to be obtained from all the vendors so as to ensure that the fact that you're deducting zero withholding tax remains that. We have been lately seeing that in case of massive amounts of foreign remittances, the department is sending not scrutiny notices, but general informational notices requesting the company to furnish the details of all Form 15 CSCB, why have you not deducted TDS, etc. But we are also seeing a very good trend is that they understand, in most cases, they are able to understand this Supreme Court ruling, and they themselves are of the view that, once the Supreme Court ruling is there, no withholding tax is required. But the documentation obviously needs to be robust. The first thing that they want to see is the TRC. And if it's a smarter officer, obviously he will get into the details of no PE and 10F. So suffice to say, what is coming from our experience and our interaction with tax officials is that the position that we have been telling members that withholding tax is not required on foreign payments, that is being validated subject to robust documentation being kept in place by all your vendors. Now, in certain cases, we've also seen members come to us and say that, I have a foreign vendor, he's not A, complying with this 10F requirement, B, he is ready to comply with the requirement, but he's unable to go online and fill up the Form 10F, in which case in which case it is in your prerogative or your compliance team's prerogative or your chartered accountant to assist the foreign company with 10F. We have been doing that in a lot of cases. Why? Because it obviously helps you as a buyer not to deduct withholding tax, and it helps your commercial terms. And it's not that complicated a procedure. We have in certain instances also shared YouTube links on how to go online and file this Form 10F. It's relatively straightforward. I will be happy to share that link with all the members so that they can communicate it to their vendors so as to remain compliant with this law. So apart from this, there is no change in software taxation. So, I mean, that concludes the software taxation part of it. Another thing is what we have seen practically is that lately we have been applying Form 13, which is the lower withholding TDS certificate for your customers, which a lot of, I'm sure, ISOTA members have been applying. Earlier, the mandate was that each certificate required TAN numbers to be mentioned. So at the start of the year, obviously members don't really know how many customers they will have, whether they will have repeat business with the same customer, etc. So some 1.5 to 2 years back, the functionality of TAN less Form 13 was introduced in case of customers exceeding 100. But practically, we've seen even in case of customers where the total number of customers are less than 100, also the department is giving TAN less Form 13. Sorry, TANless Form 13, which means that you get a blanket lower withholding rate of, let's say, 1% as opposed to the 10% which some customers might deduct. And then this obviously helps you with your working capital. The best time to do this exercise would be April to June. Why? Because the best okay, the best time to do this would actually be April to June 2024, because obviously it will help you for the entire year. And tax officers right now are, have all their attention also to quickly process Form 13 as per the Citizens Charter. So it's almost like hitting the iron when it's hot. So in case you are concerned about working capital being blocked, high refund being there, etc., it is imperative that you do think about this and practically do apply. It is not that complicated. Requires significant amount of does not require significant amount of documentation, and it is something which I strongly suggest members to please go ahead with. Another another update on the tax information and on the, I will not use the word tax technology, but an update is that annual information statement and TIS. I don't know if members have heard about this. It's very prevalent in compliance circles. But what AIS and TIS is, and what is the kind of tax filing landscape that we see over the next 4-5 years, is what I wanted to take 2 minutes on. What has lately been happening over the past 2-3 years is what we've been seeing, and a lot of softwares have also been following this, that the department has a lot of data for filing your income tax return, be it personal, be it a company level, already with it. Now, what they've started doing in the past 2 years is they've started summarizing this data in 2 statements, which is known as AIS and TIS, which is available on the income tax portal when you go and log in on the portal. The AIS summarizes all this information in a raw data JSON format or Excel format, which can be downloaded freely by you as a taxpayer. The TIS just puts it in a nice presentable way in a PDF format so that it can be seen by the taxpayer. In approximately 90 to 95% of the cases, this information is completely accurate. It contains information, and I'm just giving an example of the kind of information it has. This is the kind of information. It has all your savings bank interest. So, the whole exercise of going through each and every statement and communicating to your chartered accountant that this is a savings bank interest I've earned, etc. All that now is automated, can be taken from this report. Most of the tax compliance softwares that CAs are using already incorporates this. A very interesting feature it has is a sale of securities of mutual funds. Now, this is a significantly useful even in case of a company or individual where it becomes very difficult to collate your statements from multiple data. Let's say you have demat accounts with you have accounts, trading accounts with 5-6 different demat providers, Grow, Zerodha, Angel One, etc. You can see a single insight, a single dashboard of all your transactions in terms of equity shares, mutual funds, debt mutual funds, etc., along with the date of sale, quantity of sale, sale price per unit, whatever information is required to file your ITR, all that information, 95 to 97% accurate, is already in this statement, can be downloaded in Excel format and can easily be shared with your tax consultant, and even can be used for your own review. And it segregates this information into 3 different parts, so you can separately tell your chartered accountant that this is my equity, this is my debt mutual fund, please tax it accordingly. Apart from this, your sale of properties, your interest from deposits, any other, most of the financial information is already included in your AIS. It also includes if you have withdrawn heavy amounts of cash and TDS has been deducted on that. If you have gone on a foreign trip and TCS has been charged on that foreign trip, all that information is included here. So it gives you a single source of 97 to 95% accurate information, which can be easily used at the time of filing of return. Significantly helpful during this return filing season, which will come in July for individuals and in September for companies. Also, it indicates your GST turnover, GST purchases. So in case you have multiple entities and you're forgetting whether you did business in a particular entity or not, it becomes easy not to forget information and gives you that information in a particular dashboard. With that being said, we've summarized our recent developments in income tax. But before I move on to the next slide, there was one significant development. There is a possibility that in the budget, which is supposed to be announced on July 22nd, that is the date tentatively decided. Obviously, it is a politically significant budget. There is traders lobby has made a lot of representation for removal of the Rule 43B, which required payment to MSMEs within the time limit prescribed as per MSME law. Otherwise, it would have been disallowed in income tax. That rule, there is either going to be rollback or it's going to be significantly eased out, because there has been multiple representations, multiple writs in the High Court stating that this rule is unconstitutional. So multiple newspapers have reported this. So in case you are worried about the MSME income tax rule, which we had discussed during our previous cycles, which we had discussed during our previous cycles, there is no need to be concerned about it till July 22nd, when the budget cycle will clarify this. So apart from this, we are seeing we are expecting some sort of changes in the capital gains or the long-term capital gains tax structure. It might impact equity markets for members who are interested in the equity markets, but obviously there is no conclusion as to how it will play out. Moving on to our next part, GST. Now, there has been a spate of GST notices. What has been happening is that although it took some years for the GST authorities to set up the system, set up their compliance system, the last 1 year has been inundated with massive amount of GST notices, be it in terms of audit, be it in terms of show cause notices, which have been generated by artificial intelligence. Now for 17, 18 and 18, 19, they have been concluded. But for 2019-20, once again, it is my request to members to please go through their GST logins and check if this notice has been issued or not. It will come under the view additional notices tab. And to check if this notice is there, then it has to be concluded and handled by 31st August 2024. And then once these are concluded, then financial year 2021 and then financial year 21-22 successively, notices will be taken up by GST authorities. So just remain apprised of GST litigation. They have been resorting to statistical analysis, and a lot of these notices have come up with massive demands which are not in fact true. But in case the order is passed without intervention by you, then it becomes problematic to handle those GST orders in appeal. So it is always better to be proactive in handling these notices. Moving on to the next point. In case you have not reapplied or renewed your letter of undertakings for financial year 24-25, please do communicate to your compliance teams in your accounts department to reapply, so as to ensure that you don't have to pay tax on your export to outside India and says exports. Another point which I wanted to discuss briefly, I'm so sorry, just heading back to the previous slide. Briefly is endorsements in case of sale of services and sale of goods. Now, recently we have concluded recently concluded certain GST assessments and GST audits where department officers have been very particular about getting all these SEZ invoices raised to special economic zones, as endorsed. So this requirement was particularly pertinently put in the audit memo also. So in case members who are dealing in SEZ, it is very important to get the SEZ endorsement. In case of sale of services and sale of goods both, I understand in sale of goods it automatically happens, but in sale of services also, please ensure that you have robust documentation of your SEZ invoices and they are endorsed, each and every one of them, so as to not have any trouble during GST audits. Lastly, in terms of GST, although no significant amendments or notifications have recently come, but we would again like to emphasize the robustness and the importance of having datas and reconciliations for each financial year. This would include a reconciliation between the GST appearing on the website and the GST that you have claimed in your books, which is the most important reconciliation, a reconciliation of the GST that you have declared on the portal and the GST that is on your books. These are two important reconciliations because right now the last financial year's data would be fresh in your minds of your accounts department. So they will be easily be able to take it up. And with audit season coming in September, they might get busy with that. So now is the right time to be able to reconcile this data and ensure accuracy. Another important thing is to send out mail to all your customers, asking them if you've missed any GST invoice which has been raised by you but is not reflecting in the portal, because it allows you time to amend that GST invoice and pay that GST before the statutory timeline, which is in September. So now is the right time to be able to, because books have almost been finalized on both ends. So it's the right time to mail your customers, asking them for asking them for reconciliation of any GST invoice that you might have missed out putting in the portal. So just taking a temporary 5-minute stop before I head to the next part of the PPT. If any questions pertaining to these aspects or income tax or GST which members are facing, we'll be happy to take them up and then move to the next section.
Dhruv, we get some mails from NDML which says easy transaction is done. Is that good enough for us as a document received from there?
By NDML, I'm sorry if you can, sir, just elaborate there.
1 minute, just open my mailbox. So we keep getting, we do SEZ billing on services.
Right.
1 minute. And after few weeks, we get confirmation. This is the transaction done. This is for kind information.
Sir, if the confirmation is coming from your customer, no, then it does not suffice. It needs to be from the SES Online portal or the SES Online domain.
I think it is from SES Online only.
So if it is from SES Online, then it's fine. Then that mail suffices. 1:1 correlation between each invoice and each mail would be required. But yes, that suffices.
So we can give that document, or that also needs to be endorsed again.
No, that printout of that mail referring to that invoice will be fine.
Okay, then fine. That's good enough. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Dhruv, Romil here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is this, we need to follow this for previous year also, or it is starting 2024?
So this rule is applicable since GST came in. So technically applicable from 1st July 2017 to be precise.
Got it. Okay.
It is it's not a amendment, it's a clarification that I'm giving. So retrospectively applicable.
Got it. Thank you.
So I think if questions are done with this part, would be happy to just spend a minute on to change the section. Since there are our income tax and GST portions are covered, I just wanted to cover a couple of case studies for how we are using with latest improvements in the GPT model. Last we had discussed during our webinars was the GPT-4 model was the flagship model that was being used by OpenAI. But recently in April-May cycle, they've replaced it with the GPT-4o model. Now, what is the biggest update in this model and how it actually helps you is that the data analysis, using it for vision, using it for file uploads, using private GPTs is now accessible to all free users. So whatever functionality was available to paid users is now freely available to free users also. Also, there is a limit on the number of questions you can ask it, but the functionality is available for you. Now, we've been using this functionality in our day-to-day workflow, and I just wanted to spend some time in understanding how that workflow can be used by business owners and how you can leverage this functionality. Let's move on to our case study. And I would really appreciate this being an interactive session in case you feel that there is something that is an idea in your mind of whether GPT can do this or not. Would be very happy to discuss this. First, I'll just summarize what case study we're doing, and then I will just share my screen and walk you through how this is being done. We will analyze how a business owner who is hard pressed for time and has our data from the CRM or the accounting system wants to understand and analyze the data in a conversational mode. So the biggest advantage that I personally see, which helps CEOs, is that let us say you have raw data in Excel format from your CRM. Now this shows you the opportunities, the sales agent, the product, the account, the deal stage, the engagement date, the closure date, and the closure value. Now, this is raw data which you can easily get from your CRM system. It can be in any format. There needs to be no concurrence in the column names, etc. This is just basic data which any CRM system will throw you. So it obviously applies in multiple cases. Now, our endeavor is to be able to analyze this data without going through the complicated cycle of putting in formulas, creating graphs, putting it to Power BI, putting it to a Power Query. We want a simple one-to-one conversational interface where I am able to ask the question from the data and I'm able to get the result without any significant complications. So the type of questions that we want to understand from this is, one would be to analyze this data to the best of your ability, provide you key insights, give you a plot of the time spent in engaging and closing sales, give you an insight into which products were closed quickly, meaning which opportunities were won and were closed in minimum time, provide me the top 10 ones. And obviously, I have specifically used a colloquial language, it's conversational in nature. What is the closing value of all opportunities in which I'm in the engaging stage, which has neither been closed, neither been rejected, neither been won? And maybe help me write a mail to opportunities which were lost, thanking them for giving time and allowing you to engage. Write maybe a VBA script or an Excel formula to bulk mail and help me structure the code. So we're using multiple utilities. Now let's see how we can use this for our benefit and how ChatGPT will be able to leverage this. So I'm just stopping screen share here. Here we have the ChatGPT interface. We have our sales pipeline data over here. The first step in the sales pipeline data, this is a CSV format. I have not edited it. I have not changed anything. The data has been raw downloaded from the CRM system. I first put my data over here. Let me start with my first question, which we had just covered in the case study. Now, what is new, which we have not seen previously, is that ChatGPT will be able to see the data now. It doesn't just operate in the backend. You will be able to see data manipulations taking place. You will be able to see the column names. I hope everyone's able to see my screen. Yes, you will be able to see the column names. Now, this is a raw analysis. This is completely open analysis by ChatGPT on what are the key insights. So, for example, the total sale value closed are approximately $10 million. Top sale agents were Darshel Schleshett. Other top performers were Vicky Laflamme, Anna Snelling. What is the sale value by product? GTX Pro was the highest product. So in a conversational tone, I was able to get this. Now let's move on to the next question, which we can ask. Give me a graph. Sorry, show me a graph of time spent in engaging and closing sales. What's interesting is that this graph will be available here. I don't need to download it. I can obviously download it in a JPEG format, put it in my PPT, but here is a graph. If you can see that the number of deals, 1300 deals were approximately closed in between 0 to 20 days. So my average, 1300 deals on an average were closed in 10 days. So, but there were certain amount of deals, let's say around 250 deals, which were closed in 80 to 100 days. So that's my second analysis done. Now let me ask the third question, which we had covered in our case study. Which products were closed quickly? Meaning, which opportunities were won and closed in minimum time? Provide me the top 10. Here are the top 10 opportunities which were closed in the minimum time. I can easily download this in an Excel file for later analysis. So each time it is iterating over the data, you don't need to go back to put the code in Excel. It gives you a very simple single user interface. Now, any other analysis, and I would request some participants to maybe just raise a question on it. I would be happy to, ask the question here, and then we can all see how the data is being crunched. Any question by any participant on terms of the data? You can go back to the original data. Anything you would like ask, anything you're wondering in terms of any plot, any analysis, etc. can be done. I'm not seeing any question in the chat window. Fair enough. So a simple further analysis, let's say you want to import this into some other utility, would be to just change. Can you change the date format from the YYMMDD format to the DDMM YYY format, and also add a column stating the month and year in. So all these manipulations for which I would require complex Excel usage, understanding formulas, is now moved to a conversational format. And it has sort of, from what I would want to use the word, that it has democratized data analysis for multiple users. And obviously this data can be downloaded in Excel. This data, you can also tell ChatGPT to summarize all these steps that you have done in a single message so that you can copy paste it the next time this report comes, and it will undertake and do the similar analysis. Any question till here before I move on to the next case study, which is also interesting, which I hope will also help members in analyzing? I hope I'm audible. I hope I'm not speaking to the void.
No.
Okay.
Where is this? Is it a website
So
or what it is?
this is basic ChatGPT. So if you open ChatGPT and set up a regular account, let me just go ChatGPT, openai.com.
Okay.
Simple ChatGPT interface, no special instructions, nothing, just regular ChatGPT which you use,
Hmm.
right? You will have a small link over here. You can just upload from computer and you can just upload the file, or you can just drag the file here and then start conducting your analysis.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Very helpful in terms of graphs, etc., because the visualizations which come can easily be used in the visualizations that come can easily be used in a PPT.
Which
Got it.
version?
Sorry, sir.
Which version of ChatGPT?
4.0, sir, and it's available to free users now. Obviously, there is a limit on the number of queries you can ask in case of the free account, but it will give you a flavor of whether it's helpful to you or not. Okay. Can I move on to the next case study? Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Our next case study is another insight into a business owner who.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How do you enable that 4.0, or by default it is 3.5, right?
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat?
How do you enable GPT 4.0?
Okay, I'll just explain. Just so here. So there are these models, always like the 4.0 model. In fact, this functionality works in 4.0 and 4, but I've personally seen that 4.0 is able to understand conversation and is more, for the want of a better word, chatty. So 4.0 model.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to our next case study. This is a very interesting one, which I personally use in my workflow also. In this case study, we want to understand how a business owner who is looking to understand a topic in depth has decided to go through a playlist of YouTube videos, but does not have the time to watch each video in detail. Now, what's interesting is I've taken a YouTube video, which I think members themselves will understand is members themselves will understand. Here is a video for a business owner or an ISODA member who wants to understand how to sell cybersecurity services, the new normal. Now, this is a can we
Everyone
mute?
please mute their microphone except Dhruv.
पूरे साल में कभी भी एक भी ट्रांजैक्शन ऐसा नहीं है इसमें रिस्क लेने का तो ये ऐसा हो गया समझे आप
Request everyone to kindly mute their microphones.
मुझे भी
Okay, so back. So here is an example. Yes, sir, Rajiv sir has also said analyze images because OCR, absolutely. So if there's a scanned PDF you require, but sir, Rajiv sir, there's a message in the chat window of OCR analysis. Sometimes GPT is known to hallucinate. So your translation or your transcription or your analysis of that image might not be very accurate. With data analysis, you know that it's limited to the main data. Moving on back to the case study, here is a YouTube video which is 33 minutes long, but obviously I do not have the time, but I need the key insights. YouTube is a treasure trove of information. Now, in this, we'll resort to Google Bard, bard.google.com. What Bard essentially does is that Bard is deeply integrated within the Google ecosystem. It has the ability to access the transcript of the YouTube. So I can easily go to Bard, copy the link to YouTube. I can say, what is this video saying? Please summarize it in 10 bullet points. So instead of sifting through, fast forwarding through the video, it has gone through the transcript of the video, which YouTube has already analyzed and summarized it in 10 bullet points. So my 33 minutes get reduced to just a single minute of analysis and I get the gist of what the video is trying to say. If I particularly feel that I need to get into a particular topic which the speaker has been speaking about in YouTube, so then I can easily tell Bard to elaborate that. For example, he says that he's giving a presentation on how to always use an assessment to identify the client's vulnerabilities. So I can easily say, can you please elaborate about the assessment to identify client vulnerabilities? So it will go through the video, go through the transcript, and specifically summarize and expand upon that particular scope. So here are 3 key pertinent bullet points. Do not provide assessment to the client unless they agree for a follow-up. Use assessment result to explain. So my entire life cycle becomes a conversational, my entire life cycle of watching the YouTube video becomes a conversational exercise where I can pinpoint and ask the relevant questions and be able to access the huge treasure trove of data which YouTube has, and maybe summarize these into a PPT for further presentation. Moving on to our further case study. So this can easily only be done by Bard because it has a deep key integration with YouTube. Unfortunately, GPT is not able to do this. And the good thing about Bard is that anyone having a Google account can use it. It's free. Moving over to our further uses of how we've been seeing GPT and how we've been leveraging it in, analyzing our data, is that we have seen significant advantage in designing using GPT, iterating for tax calculation systems, payroll, insights of finance and operations team, automating data procedures, having on-premises utilities which can just extract the data from Tally. So step one, data, running the analytics and giving you the insight as the business owner. So here is a graph we've been able to make for a client. This is a very interesting graph which significantly helped the client. It shows the movement of funds which the company had in different areas. So for example, take the example of August here. This was data which was exported from Tally using a utility designed by ChatGPT, which can easily be done in the previous case study I told you. And then that Excel was provided to Power BI. Now, even this can even be done by ChatGPT by designing the right prompt. But what is interesting is the insight that is coming here. So in August, I've had inflow of 10.2 million worth of rupees from sundry debtors, which means that they are my realizations from sales. And then I've had an infusion of loan from 4.5 million. And then both of these funds have been used in paying my creditors of 78 million, resulting in a net negative cash flow of 3.74 million. So as you can see that the impact of the business owner getting this loan can easily be summarized and checked rather than going through complicated Excel sheets in 2 simple months, where I can take 2 seconds and develop an insight that this loan money that has come has gone to repay the creditors over a period of August and September. Might be because it's a quarter ending, might be because they were outstanding for a long time. And that is the reason why in September, the business owner ended up paying more to his creditors, because he had additional fund infusion, 1 from realization of sales, 2 from the loan account. This is easily doable in any legacy accounting system, be it Busy, Tally, Zoho, etc. Any Excel dump that comes can do it. It does not require significant investment of time on part of the accountant or on the accounts team also. Similarly, we've been able to develop a simple utility using Excel analysis of this tool to, I'll just clean this up, sorry. To analyze the differences between the invoices coming on the GST system and the invoices coming on 2B. So for example, you can see here wherever the invoice is coming on 2B, it is showing that invoice number. If it is coming in books, the difference would have been 0. So these kind of dashboards, etc., are very accessible now, even without advanced knowledge of any software or any coding techniques. The only thing that is pertinent is how to ask the right question to GPT. And with that being said, it was a short session, but I hope it was slightly useful. I'd like to reserve the rest of the time for questions, queries, and be happy to answer it. We will obviously be having a more detailed webinar in the coming month post the budget session, where we'll be analyzing the budget and providing insights, because that will be, we are assuming a huge budget with significant amount of changes, because they have the political capital right now to be able to do that.
Sir, regarding the Form 13.
Sorry, sir?
Sir, this is Samuel from Raksha.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the Form 13 applications,
Right, sir.
Is it possible to apply without a TAN number, sir?
Yes, sir. This is what.
In the case of 100 customers exceeding.
Yes, sir. This is exactly what I was covering in this slide. It is possible in case you have a lot of customers, you don't know whether the same customer will come back to you again. You might have new customers. Specifically for that purpose, this Form 13 has been issued, which allows you to it'll give you a blanket lower withholding rate. So all your customers can deduct it up to a
Okay.
turnover ceiling. So you can tell them that, my turnover will be 50 crore rupees. So up till 50 crores, all your customers can deduct it at 1%.
Okay, in the case of less than 100 customers, is it possible?
Sir, we are just getting an application processed for a customer where he has less than 100. We are not really seeing that the department is focusing on 100 or more than 100. As long as you file the application, you're able to give them supporting documentation. They are processing these applications.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions by members on topics unrelated to what we're also discussing would be any tax or income tax or GST or
So Dhruv, you mentioned that there are changes expected in the income tax in the budget.
Right.
What kind of expectations do you foresee?
Sir, not to get the members' hopes up, nothing on nothing on the software taxation front, but no rationalization of TDS rates. But definitely, I don't see, what I don't see. I'll cover a couple of those points. I don't see a reduction in personal income tax rates. I don't think we will get relief there. We will see further phasing out of the old regime. So, exemptions, tax concessions, etc., will obviously be phased out more. Might be more avenues for startups, more social welfare measures, might be some measures for gig workers, etc. That's a lot on the anvil. My personal take, and something which I'm very, I would say, concerned about, would be that there might be some sort of rejig on the capital gains regime. Long-term capital gains of 10% might get changed, become higher. There I do see something happening because of the signaling that has been taking place over the past 6 months. But definitely no reduction in headline tax rates.
Anything you expect on the GST side?
GST, there is a GST Council meeting on 22nd June, so I guess not too far away to be able to see, but there might be certain rationalization of certain rates. Might be the ball starts rolling on inclusion of petrol in the GST ambit. There's a lot of talk about that.
But then states may not agree to that.
It's just ball will start rolling. I mean, it won't happen right now. The mandate is not that much key they can do this right now. It'll just set the ball rolling. There might be some indications, etc., some committee being formed, etc. But some rationalization of rates is expected.
Maybe they
Definitely.
can start with something like a gas.
Yes,
Start
but
with.
just ball rolling. Some momentum will have been gained on that front.
Right.
So GST Council on June 22nd and July 22nd is the budget.
Any questions from the attendees here with regard to anything? What was covered, what was not covered, including everything?
I guess everyone is in a Friday mood.
I think Dhruv's sessions are fairly insightful. Thank you so much, Dhruv.
That's so kind. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure hearing you.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for the valuable time.
Thank you, Dhruv.
As always, open for questions on mail also. In case you're unable to recollect a question, please feel free. taxadvisor@isoda.in.
Thank you, Dhruv.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Dhruv.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you for the session. It's been really wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.